Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, Mugen Ross here with your AEW in a week episode. So this is where we go over everything that has happened in AEW. We mainly focus on Dynamite and Collision, just because there's a lot more content to go over in that. But if anything interesting happens in Rampage, we also mention that. So let's get right into it, because we have a bunch to talk about. So we opened Dynamite with Cassidy coming out after his loss at All Out. He got a standing ovation, everyone in the crowd cheered for him, and you could still see he was really banged up. He had several bandages across his hand and still on his forehead, and he just stated that I was told to stay at home, and he was like, nah, I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to be here every week, because I'm Orange Cassidy, and I don't have a catchphrase. And it was cool to see. It sees that he's still not done, he's still ready to carry on going, and he still wants to have the fun with wrestling. We then have Jon Moxley walking out as your new international champion, defending it straight away, and Cassidy just stands there looking and just kind of taking it in for a moment that he still wants kind of that belt back. He still wants that revenge. But he's lingering. He sees there's AR Fox, Darby Allin, and they kind of all just stare at each other for a bit. AR Fox is the challenger for Moxley, so that they start their match there. It was an interesting match. A lot of cool, interesting spots. You had once AR went back in the ring, started carrying on, Darby Allin went to the back and was watching at the back, and Nick Wayne joined him. But Nick Wayne didn't really come out and kind of still looked not very happy with AR Fox. Their relationship is still a bit rocky because AR Fox siding with Swerve Strickland and jumping him at the gym and hurting him. And Darby Allin was like, look, we have to bury bridges. He's now left Swerve. Swerve kicked him out. We've got to pick AR Fox up when he's down. He isn't a bad guy. He's just taking out his frustrations, and Swerve manipulated him. A lot of awesome, cool spots back and forth in the ring between Moxley and AR Fox. AR Fox really focused on the leg hitting and submissions where he could. AR Fox is very high flying though, so a lot of the high flying got taken away from him as soon as Moxley did the same back and got more aggressive with the submissions, which he is known for, and very much focused on AR Fox's leg. There were several parts where AR Fox's leg got smashed into the ring post, and several times they were doing corkscrews, hitting it in between the ropes. Moxley very much won the match with what is known as a King Kong Lariat now, and Death Valley Driver, which I thought was awesome. Moxley being Moxley, doing his thing, getting a win there, was really cool. Darby comes and helps AR Fox up. Wayne stays behind, and this is where it gets interesting, because Christian Cage comes out now and just basically starts insulting Nick Wayne, being like, oh, I should apologise. When you mentioned your dad being a pro wrestler, I went back and watched some of his matches, and he's even worse than I originally thought. Nick, obviously being angry, he's like, don't be offended, don't be offended. I understand you're trying to look for a mentor, you're trying to look for someone to give you guidance here, and you think you're going to find that in Darby Allin, when you should be looking at a champion, someone who is a good leader, pointing at himself. Even though he isn't actually the champion is Luchasaurus, but Luchasaurus has kind of just given in to Christian, saying he's the TNT champion and him carrying around the belt, and Christian's not really defended that belt. It's always been Luchasaurus that is doing it. I don't like this storyline. I think this is really unique and builds to Christian's character a lot more, and it's been funny that he keeps going on about this whole wrestlers who haven't got a father and him trying to be the father figure and stuff for them, or insulting them. He literally finishes it with being like, oh, keep an eye on Darby and everyone, and also say hi to your mum for me. But yeah, I thought that was crazy that they went that way. Chris Statlander did an open challenge, and we get Emi Sakura versing her, which was really nice to see Emi Sakura getting a lot more spotlight. It's a shame Emi Sakura really didn't get to wrestle at All In, because her whole gimmick for a while when she was a face was a Freddie Mercury gimmick, so it would have been perfect for her there. But understandable, she's playing a heel right now. She couldn't do that gimmick. Maybe one day it will come back. But Nonetheless, we go into the match. Emi Sakura goes aggressive straight away. She goes for a crossbody as soon as Chris Statlander's in the corner getting ready for the match. Goes like chop for chop, going aggressive, throws Chris Statlander into the stairs to get into the ring as well, and just constantly doing several crazy hits. She hits a vertical backbreaker, which she is known for, so she holds up the opponent for a long time and then hits the backbreaker. Does a 2 count, and Chris Statlander quickly kicks out of it. Then they both get into it a lot more, and there was a really cool part where we have the discus lariat from Chris Statlander, and every time she now hits that discus lariat, you know what's coming next. Wednesday Night Fever is hit, so Chris Statlander retains. She also states she'll be doing another open challenge on Collision because she's going to take the same mentality as her best friend Nat Cassidy did. She will be a fighting and defending champion wherever she is needed. So there will be an open challenge on Collision, and we will get into that when we get to the Collision section of this video. We have Roderick Strong with the Kingdom doing what I could only say was like them trying to be very heartfelt promo, pull at the heartstrings of Roderick Strong's past, where it talks about his family, his dad alcoholism, his mom's drug taking, and how he had to look after himself. It got so bad to a point that his sister left, and the only thing that he really had as a consistent in his life was pro wrestling. So, you know, everyone else could say it's just wrestling, but to him, it's not just wrestling, it's everything, and he's going to beat anyone in that tournament because he is a wrestling prodigy and a wrestling legend. And I liked this. I felt like some of the camera angles and some of the photos they were showing didn't really correspond to what he was trying to say, and was very much showing him cheesy. And I know they're kind of having a laugh with like the poses of his neck brace and the glasses he's wearing kind of gives him that goofiness now. But he is a genuinely strong talent. No pun intended in his name there. And I think it's a weird in between. It's giving him character depth, but like I want to see the Roderick Strong I know, which is like the strong, I can kick your ass, I have the aggression in the ring. And having Kingdom just like kind of sympathize his neck all the time, and him just playing on it and being like very crybaby to Adam is a good and bad storyline. I don't like how it makes Roderick look at the moment, because I hope there's a good turnout where Roderick shocks everyone, screws over Adam Cole, joins Kingdom, or like Kingdom and Roderick Strong become like this new super house faction. I really want to see where this goes, and I'm waiting for the payoff, but at the same time I feel like if they don't pay off correctly, it will very much hinder Roderick. But yeah, we go into it. They speak about all of that, and then Don Callis has now joined commentary to come see the next match of the Les Sex Gods, which is Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Aussie Open. This comes from the little altercation they had at Rampage last week, where the two of them started having a mini brawl against each other. Chris Jericho tries to swing the bat at them, and it turned into a proper match that's been sanctioned. Mark Davis and Jericho open the match. Like, it's a lot of back and forth. We have Sammy Guevara, Jericho do their standard, oh, we get to do the really fun pose. You have Mark Davis flip the pair of them over the top of him. He throws the crown up. There's also a part where Sammy Guevara gets hit, very strong hits towards Kevin Fletcher and Kyle Fletcher, sorry. And as Kyle Fletcher's down, Sammy Guevara throws like a mocking crown up at him. Some really cool spots of like a Hurricane Rana that happened. We have one of the most interesting spots is where Jericho and Sammy Guevara clash into each other a couple of times, just by like miscommunications or Aussie Open using it to utilize them. And in that last moment, you see Sammy Guevara like goes to hit Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher moves out the way, and then Sammy Guevara gets hit by Jericho because Kyle Fletcher moves Sammy Guevara in the way, as Jericho went to also help Sammy in that moment. But as that happens and Kyle Fletcher slides back into the ring, Chris Jericho is aware of it, notices it fast, hits a Judas effect for the 3 count, which then culminates in the fallout of Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. We don't know to what extent, but they had a push and a shove against each other, being angry. Sammy Guevara in his right mind to be angry because he's been hit by several times by Jericho now by accident. But Sammy Guevara's like, I don't know if it's accident or not anymore. Look how many times you hit me, and you got the pin. Like if you were a proper tag team guy, you would have checked on me and would have made sure we tag team finished the match, not you just hitting a Judas effect and getting the pin. And it's, if you notice, the ego-ness is coming out, and Don Callis might have been getting in Sammy's head about this ego-ness because they came out to Chris Jericho's theme. Chris Jericho was the finisher. Chris Jericho got the pin. So they have that push back and forth. Security get involved, drag each other away. So I don't know where that goes now. Do they have a one-on-one match? Do they speak and sort it out? Do they challenge someone else again and try and fix their tag team relationship? We will all see where this progresses. But it was an interesting storyline going into that. Yeah, we then get Ricky Starks with a crystal clear promo going towards what's going to be on Collision as well, and states that nobody made him tap, no one can prove better than him, no one can outdo him. He is an absolute guy in the ring. Even Bryan Danielson couldn't tap me out. He had to physically choke me out until I wasn't ready to go anymore, which I thought was awesome. We then have Don Callis again. It's like they really want to show him this week. I mean, it's understandable. Renee has a conversation with him. It's like, oh yeah, we've done something no one else could do. We've beat Kenny Omega twice in 7 days between each other. No one else can claim that. Takeshita's the new big guy around town, and we're going to show off our next victim in this painting that they've got covered. Renee tries to sneak a look, and Don Callis is like, you put that down. You'll see it next week. You can't see till next week. And then they walk off. So we'll find out who Takeshita's next opponent is and see where that storyline goes. I think it's still going to be someone within the Elite. I don't think Kenny Omega and Takeshita are done unless Kenny does it the way I think it's going to go, and Kenny's going to get to a point he's that angry and done. They might try and recreate the exploding barbed wire death match. I mean, that was more a Moxley thing, but Kenny can bring it back and be like, fine, I've gone to depths I've not needed to go before, and you've really pushed your limit, Takeshita. I'm going to go back that limit. Or they'll do a lights out match where it's like unsanctioned, and they'll do it. Kenny Omega had a few. He had one against Moxley, and he had one against Joey Janela. So I'd like to kind of see that come out of this feud. But we will say where it goes. We have MJF walk out, plays to the crowd. Everyone's happy that he's there. He plays into a lot of the chants and everything. Says, "Who's your daddy?" They shout at Maxwell, like, shout the MJF. Everything like that. We then get him talking about what he's going to do, how he's still going to be champion at Grand Slam, everything he's been doing so far. And he states that he needs to put some people that are in this tournament show some respect. And he calls out Samoa Joe because of Samoa Joe shoving him all out, which turned out to them having a fight just before Samoa Joe had his match against Shane Taylor. Which, I really want this feud. There's a long history of this over the most simplest thing of MJF was shoved by Samoa Joe, and they've perfectly played into this storyline about how MJF was doing WWE tryouts. They said, hey, we want a spot where you could walk down Samoa Joe to one of his matches as security, and then Samoa Joe pushed him, all of this. Maxwell Jacob Freeman basically rips into Samoa Joe, has a lot of back and forth retorts, some of the insults they threw. Pardon me now. Interesting line they threw out to him was this whole, oh, no wonder you're out here because you mistaked my theme song for an ice cream truck. Kind of alluding to his Twisted Metals TV series where he drives in like a clown ice cream truck from the video game and the TV series that is now on Peacock. And Samoa Joe was like, oh, the last time I had anything to do with an ice cream, I was being one of the top stars in the other company, alluding to his NXT because he was NXT champion at that time, but he had to relinquish it. And it was a good back and forth. They get more and more into it. MJF talks about the whole story as mentioned, speaks about William Regal, how he completely blanked him and everything, how MJF is now better than some kid, he's full grown. He main evented the biggest wrestling event ever. His name is Maxwell Jacob Freeman, and you'll know it, and he's better than you. And Joe was like, "Oh, you put it perfectly there. You said everything there. But I didn't slap you because I thought you were a kid. I didn't push you around because I thought you were a kid. I thought you were a little bitch." And they go into a massive fight. This all proper kicks off um, because MJF slaps him. Joe's like, "I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to go through this tournament. I'm not going to waste my opportunity and my chance to actually get my hands on you. So let's go." As MJF goes to leave, Samoa Joe kicks the ring, so it cheap shots MJF. MJF's on the floor. Samoa Joe picks up his belt of the AEW belt, showing it off. MJF hits him with a cheap shot straight to the nuts as well. They go into a brawl, stomping each other, everything like that. Samoa Joe does his amazing Samoa Joe spike where he just picks you up as you run into him and momentum slams you back down. Went for a buckle buster as well onto MJF, and Adam Cole stopped it very quickly. Joe walking back, all the security there, him walking up the top. It's like, "Oh, what's the matter, kid? You don't look so good now. You don't look so good." He walks back, grabs a new mic, walks back out, goes, "Oh, I hope next time I'll keep it attached, but I can't promise you that next time you lay your hands on me, I won't tear you limb from limb." Shouts a bitch again as loud as he can, slams the mic down, walks off. I'm here for this feud. If it turns into Samoa Joe wins the whole Grand Slam tournament to make Samoa Joe MJF happen, I'm here for it, but I'm also here for Roderick Strong MJF because of the history with Adam Cole. That side of it, and where would Adam Cole stand? It's his two best friends going to war. They both have neck problems right now. It's very, very interesting. Especially because after that all happens, Roderick Strong does walk out because he's got his match against Trent Beretta. And he's just shouting at Adam Cole, being like, "Oh, so you're protecting MJF's neck. You ran straight for him and helped him, but when it was my situation and Joe hurt my neck, you did nothing about it. You took ages to get to the ring. You did nothing. Where's that?" And just like they're kicking off at each other, being like, it's ridiculous. Kingdom just basically telling Adam Cole to shut up as he's trying to talk as well. But we go into the match. Roderick Strong doesn't have his music play because it has MJF walk out, so it's very weird seeing him do his whole in the ring, "Yeah," and there was no music to follow it, especially because I love his theme song being Killswitch Engaged. And yeah, it was a weird match. Trent Beretta really focused as best as he could on Roderick Strong's neck, but Roderick wrestled like he was 100%. Like he oversold when his neck was hit. Like there was an interesting point where there was like a double knee strike, and Roderick like whelped and rolled around like it proper hurt. There was spots on the outside, some back breakers, neck breakers, and it looked like it really hurt. And just yeah, the match went back and forth. There were crazy parts. One of the really cool things that I liked as well was that Trent hits a German on Roderick and then does a Death Valley Driver type move. Well, it basically was a Death Valley Driver. And it looked disgusting. Roderick looked absolutely done. He looked like he was proper in pain. And I'm sorry, Kingdom started sounding like they were trying to sing Wu-Tang because they kept shouting "Protect your neck" to Roderick. And I couldn't unhear that of just Wu-Tang's going, "Protect your neck." And it just made me laugh. But yeah, we've got everything going on there. Then there was a flight on the top rope, but Roderick gets Hurricane Rana'd. He rolled it over onto Trent, so Trent gets a near 2 count. Trent rolls it back over, kind of does like a sharpshooter for a 2 count. Roderick does a crazy, and I mean a crazy backbreaker because he like uppercutted Trent, threw him up, and then lands the knees on the backbreaker for it to just properly do Trent in and gets the 3 count. Roderick progresses in the Grand Slam tournament, and I'm here for it. As I said, if it goes to MJF versus Roderick Strong or MJF versus Samoa Joe, those are my 2 happy picks there. And I'm very comfortable with those because they feel they have the most story going into them compared to other matches that would be coming from this tournament. We have Toni Storm really embracing the new gimmick she has of this Marilyn Monroe, very vintage Hollywood persona where she's kind of losing her marbles a bit. Renee is talking to her backstage and asks, does she remember what happened with Ruby Soho? How it cost Ruby Soho the TBS match? She's like, "Oh, I've done many performances, darlings. I can't quite remember that one," and things like that. I thought it was really funny because she was like, "Oh, well, if you're good, I will show you next week a look into my life, and just goes, but for now, you know what the saying is, chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoe. And lo and behold, Tony Storm throws a shoe at Renee again. It's a fun gimmick. It's just it's creative, it's different, and it really works into Tony Storm's character, and just lets her have a lot more crazy fun with this. And it's building to like the Outcast crumbling and the situation that's going on with them now. We then have Hangman returning with another huge pop. He was in the over budgeted battle royale where it was for going to charity, and he gave it to California school charity. And Hangman was really wholesome with how he spoke about how he used to be a teacher, and he said teachers are underworked, overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated, and you guys are great. So it was awesome that he could give that to the charity, and he was the one that won the battle royale, hoping this gives him momentum going forward. As soon as he goes to talk about what he wants to do with the rest of his year, he's stopped by Swerve Strickland. And Swerve Strickland's been like, oh, when you're away for 2 weeks in a coffin, your mind starts going. You start having recollections and, like, revelations going on. And when I got out, one of the first people I thought about was you. You were built as this cornerstone of AEW, this pillar, this top player, the franchise player, and you just don't look like you want it anymore. You don't want this spot anymore. You haven't had new ring gear in like a year. I mean, you haven't had merch come out in like a year. And you're now wrestling on the pre-shows. You're not even fighting for any titles or in the main event. You were in a trios match. I know what you've done. You've gone and got comfortable. It even makes a comment about his weight, which I was a bit like, oh. But as a heel, I get where he was going with it, being like, oh yeah, you got that contract extension, so you're eating good. Yeah, it's showing. And just saying, like, he's not got the effort. He's sitting relaxing. He's not getting really involved. He let the Elite play driver's seat while he plays passenger again. Swerve's like, right, so you've got some options. You either show us what real cowboy shit is and show this crowd, or you stay at home and wait your contract out, or me and you fight each other for this spot. But if we do, I have no human remorse. I will walk you like a dog. And Adam Page is like, yo, I've had enough shit. I don't need this. Goes to walk off. Swerve mentions his family, Hangman's family, about his wife and his kid, and saying just like, they're going to have to watch how disappointed you are and everything going on there. And Hangman loses it. Of course he would. He runs in, he gets aggressive. He's like, I don't know who told you that. You think it was a good idea bringing my family. Looks like he's about to fight Swerve. Brian Cage comes out, slides in, power bombs straight away. Hangman Page does several moves, does several damage to him. And just, yeah, I think this now builds to a storyline where Hangman Adam Page has to now go fight Brian Cage again, get that rivalry going, and then also go against Swerve. But interesting to note, especially because the Elite were mentioned, none of the Elite came and helped. None of them came out to aid Hangman Adam Page when he was jumped by Brian Cage. So I wonder where that now lies, and wonder where Hangman's going to talk about that and be like, guys, where were you? Why weren't you there? We then go to the main event of Dynamite, being Nick Wayne versus Darby Allin. They shake hands and hug it out. This is a really surreal moment because they've been best friends for a long time. Darby Allin's grown up with Nick Wayne, and they both go straight into it. The match is really high intensity, especially because there was a very scary spot early on in the match where Darby Allin goes for his usual full force cannonball dive. Wayne dodges it, and Darby Allin hits the barricade, but in a bad way. He hits like the back of his neck and most of his back. Medical, everyone are checking on him. Nick Wayne is in like absolute shock. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe I've done this. I think I may have really hurt him. And he has that kind of panic moment about it. We then get some very interesting like moments where Darby Allin throws himself back into the ring to stop the count out, so Nick doesn't win by obviously a count out. We then have him roll straight back out to then force himself back into the ring and start fighting again. Really awesome sequences of a lot of like two roll into two roll, move after move, like frog, like second rope frog splash into like submission holds, like headlock takeovers, hip tosses, several things like that. Nick Wayne does a Hurricane Runner on the outside to Darby Allin and a frog splash, which I thought, oh damn, Nick Wayne might actually get the win on this. But then Darby Allin would get his counter on the top rope against one of Wayne's other cutter moves, which is known as a Wayne's World, which I think is an amazing reference. I love that it's called Wayne's World, especially as a cutter. And yeah, the match goes back and forth as said, and Darby wins with his interesting like arm lock submission, where it's like his arms are put behind the back and you're like elevated your arms up, and Darby was like stomping on Wayne's head, and it like yanks the shoulders, so like the arm comes separate from the shoulder. Is kind of what the intention of it is, and yeah, Wayne taps. He's like, nah, I can't do it. Like, freak out me. So yeah, Darby wins, gets the progression. So we now have Roderick Strong versus Darby Allin going into Collision. Rampage, we have the tournament matches that go through, and we'll just quickly go over them. We get Penta win against Jay Lethal. There was an interesting spot where Penta loses his mask but gets it back on, and he still gets the win. We got Britt Baker, Sky Blue, and Shida in one of their matches. An interesting note of that, even though they won, Shida did not look happy and did not fist bump Britt. So the progression of Britt and Shida's fallout has still continued even on Rampage, and we might see the turn of Shida going heel, which I'm here for. I'd like to maybe see Shida turn to the Outcasts and give them some assistance needed when Tony Storm's not there. We got Young Bucks versus Daddy Magic and Cool Hands as well. And there's not much really to talk about this. It was very much Young Bucks battling as they usually would, most of their offense. Daddy Magic and Cool Hands didn't really get a lot. And yeah, it was just Young Bucks being Young Bucks in their fashion. But it was cool that they were on Rampage. Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy happened, and Samoa Joe won in that in the Grand Slam tournament slot there as well. So Samoa Joe progresses forward now to the finals, which I'm fully here for. I want this. This is what I want to see. I want to see. Well, no, it's not a final. Sorry, semi-finals that he gets through to. I know. I loved seeing the fact of like they brought an old match. A lot of people know, and an old rivalry. Yes, it was only on Rampage, but still, really awesome match. I wish it just had a lot longer time, and maybe they'll come back to it. We now start with Collision, and we have Moxley showing off a brand new Blackpool Combat shirt. I thought this was really cool. It looked really nice. The crowd erupts for him because it's one of the closer to home states for himself, and this crowd love Moxley and how he wrestles. He's going against Action Andrade, which is really cool. I thought that was a nice change of pace, and it's nice to see Action Andrade getting some more screen time, especially because he is a very good high flyer in the ring. The match starts off with a lot of doing arm drags back and forth, trying to get the submissions. Moxley goes for kind of a quick like choke headlock as he's doing the arm drag as well. You see Moxley then basically get Andrade to the corner, does a massive chop that just sends Andrade straight to straight to the outside. He is completely in pain and just wincing on, and Moxley's like, nah, come on, get in the ring. You want to have some action. You want to be this big guy. Let's get in the ring. Let's do it. They go back and forth. Moxley has some interesting parts where he ends up headbutting him several times. Moxley goes to try and do a top rope move, and Andrade is like, nah, I'm not going to have that. We have a really cool springboard moonsault that gets hit onto Moxley. Moxley hits the stairs as well onto Action Andrade. And there's a lot of back and forth in this match. We have some really cool spots where it's like Moxley's completely hurt his leg now. So Action Andretti just keeps focusing on it. Kick after kick, sweep after sweep. Even submission grab legs and things like that. There's a really cool spot where he does like a spinning crossbody and he purposely hits the leg instead of that actual like stomach where you're meant to hit a crossbody to hurt Moxley more there. There was a really cool mid-air cutter that Moxley does when Action Andretti goes to do a 450 splash. Moxley basically pops up, runs, grabs, and does the cutter and drags him down with him. There was a really cool superplex as well, where Action Andretti landed on his feet. Moxley does a missile drop kick as he usually does, as well, and Moxley still gets the win in kind of one of the standard ways he would. He did a bulldog choke, one of the main submission holds he does when he can't do his normal standard submission hold. And he won. And it was a clean match. Crowd erupted for it. It was cool to see Action Andrade. And Moxley kind of put him over. He pointed at him and said the crowd cheer him up. They had a good match against each other, and he did show it. We get another Roderick Strong emotional heartstring talk where he talks about his Ring of Honor friendship and how they grew up together, how they spent birthdays together, how Adam Cole was like a brother to him, and it hurts him that he's now saying it about someone else. And just, yeah, once again, it's one of these promos. I'm like, okay, I get where the storyline's going. I get that you're hurt that, you and Adam aren't really being friends and you've not been there for him, and you're going to go for MJF to resolve all of this. But you also just made it very clear of being oh, even if I win the title and win the AEW World title, I'm not going to be happy because I haven't got my friend back. So maybe just talk to Adam Cole without the Kingdom around and say your frustrations without shouting at him and doing it on live telly. Is the only thing I can think, but we will see where it goes. Statlander coming out with the open challenge again. As said, she is taking on the mentality of Orange Cassidy and being a fighting champion. She goes against what I believe the wrestler is called Robin Renegade. They have a very interesting match. Chris Statlander makes very quick work of this, though, overpowering Robin Renegade. The only hindsight to what made this match slightly longer was that Robin had her sister with her, which are known as the Renegade Sisters. This match was pretty decent. There were some cool spots where the ref was distracted and they both used it to get the kind of one up on Chris Statlander. She had a really cool spot where she power lifted up. But the ending was a kind of a shame for me because it was just a roll up win, and I was I didn't really want that. I wanted to see Chris Statlander hit one of her finishers other than just a power bomb and a roll up. But we now go into the crazy spot. Jade Cargill has finally returned after nearly a year of not being around since she lost the title and has called out Chris Statlander again. She knocked out the Renegade Sisters to make it look like, oh, she's going to help Chris. Goes and grabs Chris's hand to then hits Jaded on Chris Statlander and picks the belt up and be like, I'm coming back for this. So we may have Jade Cargill versus Chris Statlander for either Wrestle Dream or AEW's... trying to remember what it is now referred to. The Grand Slam. There we go. We've been talking about the tournament and I completely forgot the name of it for a moment. We then have Renee backstage as well talking to the Outcasts, and this is where it gets very interesting because we have Ruby being furious. She lost her TBS title shot against Chris because of Toni Storm, and Toni Storm not remembering it. Ruby is furious, being like, oh, of course she's playing dumb, of course she's not remembering it. And Saraya's trying to defend her, being like, look, she's off a rocker. I was in makeup an hour ago, and they were telling me about how Tony's trying to do mayonnaise as this face masseur thing. She's completely off a rocker. And Ruby's like, yeah, but that's no excuse for what she did and everything. And Saraya's like, look, no, we just gotta knock some sense into her. We'll knock it back into her and make her remember. So maybe they're going to have an intervention with Toni Storm, a one-on-one or something. Maybe Ruby versus Toni so they can take out their frustrations. But then we go into Saraya talking about her championship match that is coming up soon. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to walk in as the champion. I'm going to walk out the champion. I feel great. And you can see the frustration in Ruby because everyone's praising Saraya for being a champion. And Ruby nearly had her chance, but Toni stopped it. And Saraya's still kind of defending Toni. So you can tell there is frustrations throughout the Outcast. We get a sit-down interview, which I loved, of Claudio and Eddie Kingston talking about their history and being like, you know exactly what you did. You left the Indies, you went in business for yourself, and you didn't help me at all when I was your best friend and we were struggling. You lived with me, you know what I've gone through. And Claudio was like, oh yeah, but some decisions are the easiest to make, and it was a decision I had to make and everything. And Eddie was just done with hearing it and hearing him disrespect his mum as well, because Claudia was like, "Ah, your mum and that would be disappointed of who you're being right now. If they were, if they were anything like me, they wouldn't be disappointed and everything like that." Eddie puts his New Japan Strong title on the line and a chance at the Ring of Honor title, so this will be both belts put on the line against each other, going into the Grand Slam, which I'm here for. I think that's awesome. I can't wait for Eddie Kingston to be in his hometown, his family watching, and Eddie Kingston get a title shot opportunity. I think that's awesome. And I really hope Eddie Kingston wins this from Claudia as a one-up on the story, because I don't want him losing that New Japan Strong belt anytime soon. We have a trios action card now, with Bullet Club Gold and several Lucha Libres. We do get the Card Blade, which has now been referred to because Jay White was not there. So we get Switchblade, Card Blade come out, and he gets put between Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness, and I thought that was hilarious, because even Kevin Kelly was like, "Oh, do you have anything to mention on this Card Blade?" and things like that, and it would just be dead silent, and it was just funny. But the Lucha Libres we got were Gravity, Aerostar, and Iframundo. Iframundo is known as the god of the underworld, and it was really cool seeing him in an AEW scenario. I know he's done quite a few things with AAA. I've not really seen him much, but he has that kind of cool luchador style to him, and I liked the gear presence he had, because it kind of looked like a dragon mixed with like demon folklore, very like D&D armor inspired, and I liked it. I thought it looked cool. We have a lot of interesting moments in the match where the Guns distract the ref for a moment, hit the two of Aerostar and Gravity. Gravity took basically most of the punishment in this match. Iframundo didn't really get many opportunities. He was kind of like the hot tag guy, and when he did get some spots going, but then Juice Robinson stopped it. There's a fun little bit where Juice Robinson has a headlock on Gravity and holding him down and just hitting him each time, and he goes like, "I hate Lucha Libre," and saying to the Guns, "Do you guys hate Lucha Libre? I hate Lucha Libre," and just going off at them. Some really cool flashy spots from the luchadors, doing a lot of high-flying maneuvers, a lot of interesting kicks that came from it, 450 splashes, things like that. And yeah, I thought it was an all-round good match. The Guns do get the win over this. But interesting note was Andrade El Idolo has been watching this, and he is one of the more prestigious luchador wrestlers that people know of, and he runs Los Ingobernables, which is the ungovernable. So maybe he has the frustrations going towards Bullet Club Gold because they're now offending luchador wrestlers, or maybe he's looking to kind of have a conversation with them. Maybe he wants to get involved with Bullet Club Gold in some way. We will see where this progresses, but I kind of want Andrade to start getting more involved with Los Ingobernables again, build up the luchador style again, and pick his proper guys to build his faction back up. Because you've got an amazing talent there, you've got basically the leader of the faction, and you're not doing much with it. And I really hope and pray soon we get Los Ingobernables hop on versus Los Ingobernables, because that would be a fan favourite booking for me, hopefully going forward. We get a really interesting moment of CJ Perry coming out, having a conversation, being like, "Oh yeah, you redeemed everything, and you forgot me. You sacrificed everything like that. You forgot your hot wife exists, everything like that. She stood on the sideline for 2 years. You forsaken her marriage, and she kept wondering, could she do this? Did she have the strength to do this? And now she's going to come back and show that she can." And I think this was a perfect promo. I think she really stood strong on the mic there and really delivered an emotional style promo of her returning to wrestling. And it will be interesting to see where the storyline goes now, because she sounded like she wants to be a manager, not really a wrestler, but maybe she will still wrestle on the side. And I wonder who she picks to manage, because I don't think it is going to be Miro, because she seems like she's really hurt by Miro's decision there. So we will all see where this progresses in the next few episodes of Collision. But I'm here for this. I'm really happy CJ Perry gets another chance to explore wrestling and not have her blindsided and get more creative freedom of what she wants to do alongside it. And how they've already booked it with the whole Miro situation, I think is awesome as well. We get a video package of the Acclaimed and how they're going to be going on like a world tour, how they won their belts and what they're going to be doing to presenting it. And it was pretty cool. And we also got another video package from the Dark Order being like, oh, you lot buying merch and everything like that, and you think it goes unnoticed. You don't want to root for the bad guys, do you? We're the good guys. And it shows Uno, Alex, and Reynolds. Well, Alex Reynolds and Johnny Hunger. All of them are there. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Is this a rebuild of Join the Dark Order? And it seemed it, because they were like, what are you waiting for? We're waiting for you guys. So we will see where that goes. But I was here for it. Ray Phoenix makes his triumphant return. He hasn't forgot about Moxley, but is going to make it apparent in this match he is good to go against the Angelico. And this is a massive luchador style match. They have a lot of their kind of more fast paced flow, a lot more of lucha libre style submission holds and top rope shenanigans. Really cool spot where you see Ray Phoenix do his run across the ropes to knock out Serpentico, which was on the side of Angelico. And we get Ray Phoenix hitting his signature move for a 2 count. Then he quickly hits a power bomb to finish up, hitting Angelico on the head first for a 3 count, and it was cool to see this happen. We get Roderick Strong walk out to his awesome Killswitch Engage music. We have a really long, crazy match that goes on here, because what happens is Roderick Strong waits for Darby Allin. Darby Allin gets jumped by Christian, and Christian basically is like, oh, you've joined this tournament because you're afraid you're never going to be TNT champion, but you're never going to be champion in AEW. I'll make guarantee of that. And makes Luchasaurus throw him into this steel like barrier that they pulled down. It's like one of them ones you have that cover a shop when it's closed for the night and stuff like that. So like a steel shutter, slams him point back with his back first to it. Darby Allin struggles to get in the ring. Nick Wayne hypes him up, does everything as best as they can. They have a stellar match of Roderick Strong trying to pick apart his back, Darby Allin going on instinct alone. He does another really crazy spot where he does do his usual cannonball dive style out of the ring, hits the barricade to hit Roderick, but also looked like he really hurt himself. We have some interesting spots where there's a coffin drop, Kingdom get involved and cause a distraction. AR Fox walks down to kind of even the numbers and help out. Wayne doesn't like this. These two argue between each other. Kingdom and Wayne and AR Fox get into a fight. Typo on the outside. AR Fox goes to hit his signature style where he does a moonsault backflip and hits, but Wayne gets pushed in front of it, so he accidentally hits Wayne. Darby Allin looks away for a moment, goes to do his coffin drop on Roderick. Roderick gets his legs up doing a backbreaker and gets the win. So we now have going forward, Roderick Strong is in the finals. I like this match. It made sense, and it's really playing into Darby Allin is definitely injured and in a lot of pain, and it's really cool that they're going this angle about it. We have then to kind of finish off, Hobbs talking about how he doesn't follow any Redeemer or religion like how Miro does, but he follows the Book of Hobbs, and everyone is going to fall to it. We then have Keith Lee show up on Collision and states that he is the Collision. He is going to show people what it is, and my best advice to you is run, which was a perfect little nod to Bray Wyatt. I loved that he still gave his like respects there and like a little motif to him. Interesting note as well, Keith Lee was wearing a One Piece Gear 5 hoodie, so he gets to be his anime nerd on screen as well, and I'm fully here to see a resurfacing Keith Lee on Collision and getting to see what he does solo there. We then get Daniel before that we get Vincent and Dutch and Stu have a small video package talking about the Righteous, and if anyone doesn't like the Road of the Righteous, stand out of our way. So maybe they're building Righteous to now address AEW instead of just Ring of Honor. Maybe the Righteous will be coming forward soon. FTR kind of call out people as well. It's being like, well, we're going to have new tag challengers. anyone that's a young tag team and want to call us out, let's do like a small little FTR Open Tournament challenge. You guys go against us and we'll put the titles on the line, whoever it is. We get Daniel Bryan walking out, well, Bryan Danielson, but I will still always refer to him as Daniel Bryan for easier namesake. Walk out, have a conversation with Tony Schiavone, states that his wrestling years are coming up. He promised his daughter when she turns 7 that he'd be kind of packing it in, but he is not going to go out with a fight. He is not going to go away easy, and he is going to make this the most awesome year. And he's going to start with Wrestle Dream, calling out the best technical wrestler. The match he didn't get to have at Forbidden Door, he calls out Zack Sabre Jr. And I'm fully here for that. I want this match. But as that happens, Ricky Starks comes out, interrupts him, kind of has a back and forth conversation being like, oh yeah, you couldn't tap me out, you had to choke me out. And Bryan Danielson agrees, being like, I wish you were more patient because I was just about to ask you to come out. I wasn't done with you. I saw what you did in the ring. I saw how you are. Blackpool Combat Club always have a saying, to be with us, you have to bleed with us. And he looks like he goes to give a Blackpool Combat Club shirt to Ricky Starks. And Ricky Starks looks for a minute, look like he's about to take it. Big Bill stops, jumps Daniel Bryan, beating the heck out of him. Ricky Starks pulls Bill away. Them two have a stare off, and then Ricky proceeds to jump Daniel Bryan. For me, this kind of sucked because I was like, oh, Ricky Starks in Blackpool Combat Club would really elevate his character even more. I think that'd be an awesome addition to the faction, and it'd make him probably one of the biggest super faction as well. And it's just a shame, but I understand kind of the motive where Ricky Starks wants to go solo, and he's absolute as how he is. Moxley comes to try and help defend, but Ricky Starks chokes Daniel Bryan out with the t-shirt, and Big Bill knocks Moxley out because Moxley had a fight earlier, so he wasn't 100% to come out fight anyway. Claudio was not there because he already left after the argument with Eddie Kingston as well. So, yeah, we had all of that go down, which I thought, oh, okay, interesting. Where does this now go? We get Big Bill versus Moxley in Moxley's hometown, which is awesome. And to kind of finish it off, we go to the main event of Joe and Penta. This was a crazy high expectation match. Jim Ross doing commentary for the main event of it. A lot of flurries of kicks that Penta did, but for once, Penta really wasn't the momentum maker in this match. It was more Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe was perfect with how he executed this. He did a lot of his unique style into wrestling and how he would powerlift someone, slam them down, and do several things going forward into the match. Joe does get the win here, and he progresses forward. So the finals now land as Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe. Perfectly how I wanted them, and this is how the MJF storyline progresses with this AEW World title. And I'm going to be very interested to see where Adam Cole stands in all of this as well. Let me know what you guys thought of this week in AEW. If there was any interesting parts I didn't completely pick up in this video, let me know in the comments. And if you like this type of content, please let me know how I could try and improve it, or would you like me to do separate, just have one focus video of Dynamite, one focus video of Collision? Let me know. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.